Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Baseball. Today, we're not going to be playing baseball. We're going to be looking at a new game, and that game is Apba Saddle Racing. There it is right there. It's a very big box. And this game is out of print. It's been out of print for a long time. I can't remember when they stopped printing it, but it's been a while. I'm going to give you guys a look at how it plays. And because I want to do that, because we're going to be playing that game on this channel and give you guys an opportunity to play along, and so I want you guys to know how to play. So I'm going to get it set up, we'll come back, and we'll take a look at how it plays. Alright, so I said I was going to set the game up first, but first things first, I want to show you what you get if you buy the game. So if you do buy the game, you'll know what you're looking for. This is a variation right here. Well, actually, it's not a variation. It's a correction. I'm not sure when they came out with this, but they changed what it says on the board. We'll get to that a little bit later. So you'll need that. You can probably get that off of a forum anywhere. You'll get the race action board. You'll need the race action board. This is where everything takes place, right here. You got your track conditions. You got what column each horse you're going to refer to, depending on the rating of the horse. You've got a timer if you want to time the race. Shows you how to time it. You've got kind of a little rare play chart. If you relate this to baseball, this would be your rare play chart. What I would call a rare play chart. We probably will not use this because a horse could come up lame, as you see right here. A jockey could be thrown from the horse. Horse is bumped. So, like, just to keep things from somebody from getting eliminated from a race, we won't do that. On the back side, you have an odds chart. If you want to figure odds, you don't have to. This is just an optional thing that you can use, kind of an added feature. Then, of course, you'll get your horses. Should come with horse cards. There's about 110 cards, I believe, from 1983 in this one. I think I counted them out. It was like 110-ish, something in there. So, and they look just like an Apba baseball card. Then you'll get your horse markers. They get like 10 of those. You get your dice. You got furlong markers, or furlong markers. Jockey sheet, or jockey ratings. This is, Steve threw this in here. Some extra jockey ratings, I believe. So that doesn't come with the game, and some extra horses he threw in, so those aren't part of the game. You'll need your instruction booklet. This is a race records booklet. There's some more furlong markers I hadn't cut out yet. Let's see. This is the races from 1983. You have all your different races. There's the Kentucky Derby right there. Slew of Gold, or Sonny's Halo, the winner. I ran it. I redid the Kentucky Derby, and Sonny's Halo did win it by a nose after Slew of Gold led the whole race on the inside corner, but Sonny's Halo beat him by a nose. So they give you all this if you want to rerun a race from 1983, you can. That's probably, if you're buying one off eBay, not sure you're going to get that. The race charting sheet. This is very important. To keep track of time or points, movement space, you'll need that. This is a look at what I did in my first race that I did. I don't know that I kept it exactly the way they say, but that's the way I did it. It worked for me. This is This is horse cards for the 1985 season. I think this was a 85 game, but the horse cards are 83. That's the difference there. Here's your jockey ratings. You know, you might not be lucky enough to get one with ratings and all that, but you kind of know what to look for now. So now I'm going to come back and get it set up, and we'll take a look at how to play. Okay, so I still don't have it set up, but there's good reason for that. That's because the setup is entirely up to you. It depends on, you know, how many horses do you want to run in the race? Which horses? Do you want to do a random draw? Do you want to recreate an actual race? It's totally up to you. And how many furlongs do you want to run? This track right here is set up for 10 furlongs. As you can see right here is the number 10. That's the final furlong. And here's your finish line. The starting line for the 10 furlong race is right here. It goes down where it says 10F, 10 furlongs. Okay, so they would start there and finish here. I think it goes up to 18 furlongs is the longest race you can set up. Okay, so let's take a look at the horse's cards. Here's the year, the name of the horse, Barberstown, and then bloodlines, I believe. The breeder, the owner, the trainer. The rating down here, the ratings, this 19 is for a fast track. The track is fast, you will use that number. Anything else, like for good, some horses have a negative. You would subtract from 19. If it's slow, you're going to subtract 1 for 19 on this horse. It varies from horse to horse. Turf rating is 18. Muddy, -2. It's all going to be from this number. Sloppy, -2 from that number. Then to read the cards, it's just like the baseball game. You're going to take your dice and your shaker. Roll them. The red die is the 10s. The white die is the 1s. 42. 42 is a 9. So if he's running on a fast track, he's a 19. You'll take your race action board. And you can look right here. This is the horse's net rating after all deductions. So a 19, you're going to look in dice roll column 2. And the result was a 9. So we come up here, we look in column 2, go down till we find the 9. We go across, and this is the first furlong of the race, 8.6. So what does 8.6 mean? Well, that means he can move forward 8 spaces. I'll just take this one for example. And one of the beautiful things about this game is you do not have to use all your movement points. So he had 8.6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's kind of hard with his phone, but okay, so it was 8.6. He's got 0.6 left over. Now I showed you in the box the movement. The movement from side to side. Now there's no diagonal moving in this game. You cannot move diagonally. It's just side to side. Now, if you're moving out away from lane 1, everything is 1.5 tenths. So if you move 2 spaces, that's going to be 3 tenths. The sideways towards lane 1, it depends. If you're in lanes 2 or 3 and you're moving towards lane 1, it's going to be 2.5 tenths. From lanes 4 and 5, every move toward lane 1 is going to be 2 tenths. 6 and 7, 0.1 tenths. 8, 9, and 10 is 0.1 tenth. And it stays like if you move from lane 10 to lane 5, that's just 5 tenths. It doesn't change once you move from here to 6 and 7, then it becomes this number. No, it just stays this number all the way. Okay, so again, moving sideways is the only way to move in, and that is the only way to move towards lane 1 is sideways, or out is sideways. There's no diagonal movement. Now, moving sideways, let's say this is a situation here. He's done moving forward, and he wants to move into lane 1. You can move through this horse. As long as even if there was another horse here, let's say there was another horse there. Let's say it was like this. And the yellow horse wanted to move to lane 1, and he had enough tenths. He's in lane, what is that, 4? Lane 4. Okay, so lane 4, moving in from lane 4 or 5 is 2 tenths. So 2, 4, 6 tenths. And he had an 8.6. You can move through horses as long as there is an available space to move to. He could do that. Now, if there was a horse there, obviously you can't do it. Now, you cannot move through a horse from behind a horse to in front of a horse. You have to go around. Okay. Now the corners, that's another thing to take into consideration, is the corners. As you can see, these different numbers here, these represent how many points it's going to cost you if you're in this lane to move forward. So it's, instead of just 1 point for every movement, if you're in this lane, it's going to cost you 1.5. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. If you're in lanes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or 3, it's only going to cost you 1 point. So heading into this first turn, and really any turn, this turn and the next turn, you want to be in these first 3 lanes. You're going to need to be in those first 3 lanes. I mean, if you're out here, which I can't imagine anybody being out here, but that's 3 points for every space. Okay, so you definitely want to be on the inside coming into the corners. Let's see what else. The very last furlong of the race. Okay, say they're in the 10th furlong, and it's the last furlong of the race. Whatever it is, 10th, 9th, whatever it is, you have to use up all your points as much as you can. So let's say you move and you cross the finish line and you have 5 tenths left over. If you have 5 tenths left over, and you're right here, lane 2 or 3, you would have to move in. You could move in this way, and that would use up 5 tenths. It's 2.5 tenths per space from here. Now, if you go out this way, it's 1.5 tenths. So that'd be 1.5. That'd be 3. That'd be 4.5. So you'd be left with 0.5 tenth. Okay, like if you couldn't move in there was some horses there, a horse on the inside lane, you'd have to go out. No matter which way, you have to move sideways as far as you can to use up all your tenths. Okay, so let's say 2 horses. Again, I'm trying to look through this camera and do this. Let's say 2 horses finish like this after they've moved their sideways movement. Gotten rid of all their points that they can. One horse has 0.5 tenth left. The other one's used them all up. The red one still has 0.5 tenth left. The red one wins because it still has 0.5 tenth of a point left. So whoever has the most tenths left at the end of the race is the winner if they're tied like this situation right here. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good idea of how to play Apba Saddle Racing. The main thing to keep in mind, I think, is that you do not have to use up all your points on your turn. If you want to carry over some to the next turn and add that to your next roll, you can do that. Except on that last furlong. That last furlong, you have to use up everything. Okay, so my plan is to do this with you guys, and I will randomly hand out horses to participants that want to play, and you guys will control the horse. I'll give you your options on the track, and you tell me where to put it, and we'll go from there. If it goes well, we might try to do this once a week. We'll see how it goes. All right, I'm out of here for now. Until next time, take care and God bless.